Welcome back, Chessbrah fans. Welcome to the official Chessbrah Pro League 2018 commentary. We're glad you're here. My name is Miodrag Perunovic. I'm official commentator here on the Chessbrah channel, and I'll be here with you today. Hope you'll enjoy. Once again, we're going to watch the match between Montreal Chessbrahs against Pittsburgh Pawngrabbers. For Chessbrah, we have one change in the team. On the first board, instead of Ivan Šarić last time, we'll have Robin van Kempen. And of course, you know the rest three players, Aman Hambleton, new Grandmaster, then Rainier Castellanos International Master, just like Michael Kleinman on the fourth board. Speaking of the Pittsburgh Pawngrabbers, we have on the first board Alex Shabalov, ex-US champion, Wonder Liang, one of the US prodigies, and finally Atulia Shetty, IM and Mika Bretain. So let's get started with these games, and let's go with the first game. So we're gonna start from the real beginning. And from the game between Robin van Kempen and Mike Bretain. Let's go from the very beginning, the very first move. So Robin played knight to f3, and his opponent played knight to f3. Robin went for d6 and went for his favorite King's Indian, although here he just opted for bishop f5 variation, where he wants to stop e4 by white. So after knight h4, he brought his bishop back to d7, e4, bishop g7, e5 does not work here because of d takes e5 and knight g4. So after bishop e2, Robin played e5, and he just went into weird King's Indian with the bishop on d7, but white also spent his time on playing knight h4 and bringing his knight back to f3. After knight f3, knight c6, d5, knight e7, castles, knight e1, and Robin went for knight e8. By the way, just briefly to give you a short and a very brief look at the plans for both sides in this position, Bretain went for one of the most typical plans against the King's Indian. It's Mardel. Actually, Robin opted for the Mardel Plata, but this guy just opted for one of the most common ideas, bringing the knight back to e1. This knight should go to d3 to support c5. And of course, his plan will be to play bishop d2, rook c1, b4, c5, and break on the c file. On the other hand, Robin played f5. His idea is to play, in case of f3, to play f4, g5, knight f6, knight g6. You know that plan. That's a famous plan. It's called Mardel Plata, for the first time found by Gligoric many years ago. And of course, Black's main idea and main approach should be attack on the king's side. So let's go there, and let's see what is he gonna go for. Mike Bretain played f4. Pretty surprising move. I didn't expect that one. That certainly makes sense when the bishop stands on d7, because, for example, Robin doesn't have like such a great control of e5, speaking of the knights, but his position is okay. As far as I see, position looks okay. And here, for example, let's take a look at the line. Yeah, he takes f4. I was about to propose that. Usually the knight stands on f7 for black in these positions. So when white's bishop takes on f4, black always has g5 followed by f4 with full control of the dark squares. He doesn't have that here, but we'll get back to this game. Now let's go to to another game. Let's go to the game of Amand Hambleton. Amand Hambleton, let's begin from the first move. So Amand opened his game with d4, and after d4, knight f6, he went for the London, bishop f4. Very popular nowadays, mainly thanks to Magnus Carlsen. So after c5, e3, g6, c3, this is only one of the approaches in the London system. Another one could be more active approach by white with c4 and knight c3. This is more solid, I'd say. C takes, e takes, and after bishop g7, knight f3, castles, bishop d3, d6, castles, knight c6. Well, one of the main ideas by black here is to somehow remove this light dark square bishop and to push e5 if possible. Amand's last move, it was ninth move, it was rook to e1. He fully takes control of e5 square and e5 as well. What can we expect here? There are like a couple of ideas. For example, there is a plan with knight h5 and bishop h6 in case bishop goes back to h2. But since that's not a case, since he hasn't played h3, I'm pretty sure that on knight h5 he would answer with the bishop g5. So that's why he goes with rook e8, and he really wants to push this e5 move. I guess he wants to bring his knight on h5, and afterwards, when he weakens control of e5, to push e5 eventually. So, for example, I'm expecting by Amand to do either knight bd2 or a move like h3. Those are quite typical reactions by white in these positions. Okay, we'll wait for his move just a little bit more, and if nothing's changing, let's move to the game of Rania Castellanos. Okay, let's move to the game of Rania Castellanos, and let's go there from the very beginning. Atulia Shetty, international master from United States, played first move c4, c5, g3. Okay, so it's the English opening, one of the most solid lines for both sides, and very interesting move. I'd like to point this out, bishop f5. I haven't seen this move so far. Probably he wants to play queen d7 and to play bishop h3. That is exactly what he did here. So queen and d7, threatening bishop h3, knight f6, and after d4 he went for short castles. Position looks normal. What I like about this bishop on f5, it can go on both. Actually, it can go on h3, but at the same time it controls the square e4 as well. So, but this is still very interesting. So after b3, he played bishop h3, bishop b2, bishop capture g2, c takes, e takes, and a very logical move. He broke in the center with the d5. Playing the d5, he has just isolated the pawn on d4, and probably for the rest of the game, since position looks pretty simplified, for example, some of the moves could be rook ad8, e6, and knight e4 by black. Castellanos might go against the d4 pawn. If you remember match from the last week against Miami champions, his very first game, he played a very similar approach and very similar plan with the black pieces. After knight e5, queen d6, he threatens the knight on e5 and rook to e1. That's the critical moment of the game. So we just have to discuss about this position a little bit. Position looks normal, I'd say roughly equal. He can go with either e6, closing the e file, controlling d5. He can also go for rook. I'm not sure if he should place. Yes, he went for a6. I'm not sure if he should go with either rook f to d8 or rook a c8. or rook a d8, and to place this rook f to e8. That also depends on circumstances during the game. So he's just played e6. His position is extremely solid. I kind of like it. Okay, white has a little bit more space, but absolutely fine position out of the opening for black. Let's go to the game of Michael Kleinman. Kleinman playing white against Alex Shabalov. Once again, Shabalov, one of the most creative players. Kleinman went for e4. Shabalov played knight c6, Nimzowitsch opening. Not a common guest in tournaments nowadays. So after knight f3, d6, d4, knight f6, knight c3, g6, they transposed into some sort of bird defense with a weird knight on c6. So after h3, he stops bishop g4, bishop g7, bishop e3. Makes sense. h3 stopped bishop g4, but at the same time, he just paved up the way for this bishop, so he would love to probably play battery with queen d2 and short castles. After castles, queen d2, a6, he went for bishop h6, exchanging the dark square bishops. Looks okay. He just wants to make long castle and with a more space to play a bit better position. After e5, bishop g7, king g7, long castles, queen e8, he went for knight d5. Knight d5 looks like a pretty committal move as far as I'm concerned here. So after knight d5, his opponent decided to capture on e4, queen e1, and f5. Last move by Kleinman was d takes e5. Position looks pretty crazy. Not pretty crazy, but okay. I kind of like this one for white. I'm just interested what is going to happen if he takes on c7, probably queen a2. And if knight takes a8, sorry, queen f7, so knight c7, queen f7, knight takes a8, queen a2. He didn't want to go for that one because the king would be almost in checkmate, and that's why he played bishop c4. Okay, I'm once again wondering, what if rook f7, for example, here by black? Rook on f7 would defend the pawn on c7. So by the way, somebody said knight c7 looks obvious. On knight c7, black should go with queen f7, knight takes a8, and queen takes a2. And don't forget that knight on a8 is kind of locked, and also black threatens mate in one move, queen a1, because knight on e4 keeps an eye on escaping square d2 for that king. Okay, his last move was bishop c4, and this is exactly what I pointed out previously. What if rook f7, where black just defends the pawn? Okay, Kleinman's position looks pretty unclear. We'll get back to this game. Let's get back to Robin's game, and Robin van Kempen against Mike Brettain. So let's go back to the move where we actually stopped analyzing this game. It was 13th move, so it was f4. So when Brettain went for f4, Robin captured f4, bishop takes f4, and went for bishop c3. I like this one. I like this one. I was talking about playing g5 and f4 if the knight was standing on f7 and controlling the dark squares. After b takes c3, f takes e4, and Robin won the pawn. After knight b4, knight f5, queen d2, knight f6, knight c2, queen e7. g4, knight h4. I just have to move a little bit faster already because they've improved pretty much. Bishop g5, knight f3. He gets the pawn back, and his opponent went for the rook a to e1. Position looks absolutely unclear. What I don't like about white's position is the fact that this g4 pawn is pushed so much. But on the other hand, what I don't like about Robin's position is the lack of the dark square bishop. although black can hardly take advantage of that. I'm just wondering now, after rook to e1, should he play, for example, an interesting line could be even knight to e4. On queen g7, white would have bishop h6. So yes, that's exactly what happened in the game. He went for knight e4, bishop e7, knight takes d2, and rook f2. Now this looks okay for black. Now this looks okay for black. Simply, if I was black, I would take on c4. I would second exchange, but maybe knight takes c4, bishop f8, rook f8, rook e7, and then the pawn on g4 is hanging. I like this position for black. Simply, white's pawn structure is broken. Robin has a pretty good compensation here, and pawn on g4 is hanging. By the way, one of the guys criticized me because I'm not using, because I'm falling sometimes in my analysis, and because my lines are not engine lines. By the way, I believe it's way better commentary when you do it without the engine, because we're just humans and we just do human moves. If we're just talking the engine moves, then you don't even need the commentator. You can just simply all the time replay the computer moves. Okay, here I like Robin's game. He certainly has compensation. Bishop is going to take on g4. Knight on c4 controls like the whole game. If rook e7, he can choose even with knight e5 now. Knight e5, that rook on e7 is kind of locked. So I'm not sure. Knight e5, or maybe bishop takes g4, rook c7, knight e5 then, followed by knight e3. That's very interesting. For example, this type of position depends on his calculating skills and whether he should come with bishop g4, knight e5. I believe this position looks okay for black. Let's go to, yes, knight e5, okay. Rook on e7 looks kind of trapped, and pawn on g4 also seems to be weak. So let's go to Aman's game. Let's go to Aman's game because some very interesting things happened there. Let's go back to the move number 9, where Aman played rook e1, and after rook e8, he went for h3, knight h5. I spoke about that, but I thought he would bring his bishop back to h2. No, he did the bishop e3. After e5, knight bd2, bishop e6. He captured an e5 and exchanged these light square bishops with the bishop c4. I like this idea. After knight f6, bishop e6, rook e6, knight g5, rook e7. Knight g5 is good move because in case of rook d6, he probably had queen b3 prepared. So after rook e7, it's his turn. I like Aman's game. His position looks absolutely solid, but okay. He's white. He didn't opt for like the most ambitious opening. This is just a normal game that became very popular lately thanks to Magnus Carlsen, because Magnus kills absolutely everybody with London system lately, and he's made so many good improvements in this opening. Last move was knight d on e4. I'd say unclear position, but okay, this looks okay for white. Let's go immediately to the game of Castellanos. Let's go to the move 15, where white played rook e1, Castellanos went for e6, and after knight b5, he brought his queen back to b8. Important thing here is he fights against the IQP on d4, so he wants to take full control of the d5 square. After c takes, he took on e5, and then he captured by knight on d5. I kind of don't like this knight too much on d6 because it controls not just, it's in the heart of our position, but not just that, it also controls a very important c8 square, so our rook cannot come to c8 afterwards. For example, once white goes with rook c1, he probably should play b5 and rook a7, and that's exactly what happened. He played b5, rook a7, and opposed that rook on c1 with rook a7 and rook c7. His position looks also okay, and judging by these first moves and in all these games, this is going to be a roughly equal match. So even though these guys are by average rating a little bit lower rated than Miami champions from the last week, we just have to say that these guys are pretty good as well. So judging by the very first moves in this match, this is going to be a very, very intense match. Okay, let's go to Kleinman's game. Kleinman against Shabalov, and we will go back to the game where he played bishop c4, 14th move. So bishop c4, rook f7, Kleinman played knight c3, attacking that rook, bishop e6, he captured on e6, captured on e4, played knight g5, and took on f7. He won an exchange, and this is exactly what I told you about Shabalov. He really, really likes to play crazy chess, and he's like a really creative chess player. So after queen e4, king f7, queen d5, king g7, I'm not sure that this queen d5 was necessary to be done. I'm not sure. I don't go too deep into this position, don't have too much time. But after queen d5, now his queen on d8, queen on d5 is on the same file as the king. So I don't like that one so much, but let's see what will happen there. So this is an interesting game. By the way, as you know, we have 4 divisions, 8 teams in each division. We play in Atlantic division, and so far you could have realized that every player will play against each player, and by the way, they will play 1 game against each other. And in the very first round, you always have the match between the lowest rated and the highest rated players. So here Kleinman has white against Shabalov, and the game was queen a3, and he played rook to b3. What I don't like about the queen on d5 is the fact that it's on the same file as this queen, so I find this position a little bit difficult for white. I find it difficult for white, and practically if I had to choose the side, I would definitely choose the black side. Somebody says queen a5 is good. I would never play queen a5. I would, for example, play queen e7 followed by rook d8, threatening queen g5 and things like this. Let's get back to the game of Kempsey or Robin van Kempen. Robin van Kempen. Let's go back to the move 26, where he played knight e5, and after h3 he broke, of course, the pawn structure with h5, weakening these pawns. G takes h5, bishop takes h3, knight d4, and now I like this move. From practical point of view, I like the move g5 very much. He now threatens g4, and also can white play rook takes e5 followed by, for example, a rook f3? That would be very interesting type of endgame. So rook takes e5, d takes e5, rook f3 does not work because of e takes d4. So knight takes f3 probably, and he went for rook c7. I don't like this move so much for white, because now there is like an obvious option for Kempen to play g4 followed by g3 to just connect these pawns and to push them there. Okay, white also has his hopes, like h5, h6, h7, knight e6, with few very annoying threats. But I have a feeling that in this pretty messy position, Kempen is going to trick his opponent somehow. Position is fairly unclear. Let's go to Aman's game because he keeps wasting time on his moves. So Aman's game, let's go back to the game, to the move 17, where he played knight d on e4. That was the last moment when we stopped. Knight e5, queen b3, threatens rook a to d1, knight takes c3, rook takes c3, h6, rook d1, queen b6, knight f3, and f5. Okay. Objectively speaking, position looks unclear, but if I had to choose side, probably I would choose black, because after e4 he would connect these pawns, open up the bishop on g7, get a possibility to drag that knight on e5 somehow. But okay, Aman also has possession of the d file, which compensates the pawn majority on the king side. Yes, I wonder Liang played e4. So now it's interesting to see, will Aman play knight d2? Knight d2 would be bad because of rook d8. So knight d1 or knight h2. e4 seems to be a pretty looks like a dangerous move by black. And I like this one a lot. I like this one a lot. Get space, and since we're just getting closer to time troubles, now we won't switch too much anymore, so we'll just try to stick to one game and to follow game by game. At a moment, by the way, once again, because like the number of viewers just raised, welcome back. This is the second round of the Pro League, Montreal Chessbrahs against Pittsburgh Pawngrabbers. You're watching the first round of this match. You're watching the second round of the whole Pro League. Last week we beat Miami champions. And by the way, once again, my name is Miodrag Peronovic and I'm international master from Serbia, and I'll be here for you. Okay, let's go there. So Aman's last move was knight h4. He threatens the pawn g6, I guess king h7 or king f7. King f7. He just gets closer to the king side, sorry, not just to the king side, but also to the center, and prepares himself for endgame. On king f7, I see rook d6, for example, for Aman. He's running out of time. And by the way, let's check the game between Kleinman and Shabalov, because the game went pretty deep there. Yeah, Kleinman against Shabalov. Kleinman looks in serious trouble because Shabalov is down an exchange, but he's got a knight and two pawns for an exchange. Also, his king is weak. I'm talking about Kleinman's king is weak on c1, so this is pretty difficult game. Let's switch immediately to the game of Castellanos. Castellanos playing black against Tulia Shetty, and I am from United States. The position looks pretty dangerous for black. Castellanos is down a pawn. It's his turn. Well, this looks like a very tough round for the Montreal Chessbrahs. So Kleinman is in worse position. Castellanos doesn't look that bright in this position either. Let's go to the game of Kempen. Kempen's position looks good. So the last move was knight d3. I see that move as a pretty dangerous one because, okay, but also his opponent wants to play knight e7 and knight g6 checkmate. But knight e7 does not work because of rook h4, rook takes h6. So that's Robin's hope in this game. By the way, this national master plays way above his rating, skills, and title. So this is a pretty good game by white. And for like the whole game, He's been having pretty good good game with the good counter chances all the time. Okay, somebody is asking me in the chat room, is Eric Hansen competing? He's going to play in some of the next rounds. Oh, I see mate. Rook h4, rook h1, or if rook h4, king g3, rook h3, checkmate. Mate into. What is this? It's a bad blunder. Oh, wait a sec, it's not mate. If rook h3, so yeah, king h3. If rook h3, king g4, knight e5, but he's gonna take the rook on f2. Yeah, knight takes f2, knight takes f2. Let me see. He has to go for that. He can even take on h6, and the knight on d6 will hang. Yeah, exactly. He can take on h6, and the knight on d6 will hang just like the rook on g7. Also, the rook on f2 is hanging. Robin is winning. This is just a matter of seconds. His opponent is about to resign. Believe me, rook takes d6 here, and he's up a piece, completely winning. Rook takes d6. So this is good. This is good. Just to begin this match in a good fashion, because we need desperately at least one win here. Yeah, rook d6, Robin is winning. I'm expecting of his opponent to resign soon. For example, f2 here, and his opponent should resign here immediately. Okay, let's go. This is winning. Let's go to a game of Hambleton. Hambleton, we're moving to the move 39. Hambleton played b4. He looks completely lost in this position. But you know what? I always have to repeat this. In severe time troubles, having two knights is sometimes way better than having queen. So these knights can jump all over the board. So I predict him a good future here, at least some tricky options. So I like two knights having in the time troubles. So let's see what's gonna happen there. Bishop a5, good one. Yeah. He's got problems to activate his knights, and Wonder Liang should now play. Yeah, exactly. Should go with h5 and h4, creating a passed pawn. Went for the bishop d2. Okay, knight e8 threatens knight f7 to capture something, but he cannot even capture the pawn on h6 because it's defended by this bishop. Aman will lose this game. That was now for sure, because he couldn't find a way to save that knight. Unfortunately, he's gonna lose this. Oh, let's hope that this guy is gonna take on b5, but he won't that mistake. He won that mistake, of course, and now he should just play king d5, and that's completely winning for black. So king e4 or just king c5. Everything is winning. Okay, let's go back to Kleinman's game. Kleinman playing against Shabalov played queen d2, threatens f5 to get the queen back. So Kempen is gonna win unless he already won that game. Aman is gonna lose his game. And now we're just watching the game between Kleinman and Shabalov. Kleinman was completely lost. He now came up with a great counter attack here, and oh my goodness, he's now up a pawn and he's fighting to win this game now. This is great. This is great now. Now he can play this from dusk till dawn. From dusk till dawn with a pawn up. This is great. By the way, we'll see what how did Castellanos play in his game, but this is great because he's up a pawn, c3. c3 could also be done in that position, and to slowly keep improving his game. I'm not sure why did he give up the pawn on c2. He's a brave player, and he will certainly try to play this on a win, as long as he's got a chance to play this game to win. Okay, queen d8. Well, he has to find a way to activate his king. By the way, black threatens some h5, queen h1, king g4. I kind of like this activity. He wants to play king g5, king h6. So now Shabalov stops that, and maybe even some h5, g takes h5, queen h4, finding a shelter for that king. Or now queen d5 check and h5 now. Okay. This is also pretty good because black doesn't have a check, and he also threatens queen h8. Oh my goodness, this is great comeback, and Kleinman won. What a great win. What a great win. Don't forget, he's the lowest rated guy in our team, and he managed to make fantastic comeback because looks like his position was completely lost. Congratulations for this win. That was crazy comeback. Reminds me of Hansen's comeback against Aritarian in the last Pro League, but this is really a big point for Montreal Chessbrahs. By the way, let's take a look at the game of Castellanos because we haven't seen the end of that game. So after, let's get back to the move 24, bishop d4, queen a5. By the way, you can see on screen, okay, queen a5, knight e7, knight b7, and he just lost after 28 move bishop c5. That was pretty bad moment of this game. So pawn on a6 was hanging, knight on e7, queen on a3, simply his position fell apart. If I had to choose the moment of the game where he made a crucial mistake, probably that should be the moment when he decided to take on e5, but I'm not sure about, I'm not entirely sure about position. So yeah, after queen c1, rook takes a6, knight d5, he tried to sacrifice an exchange, bishop f8, bishop f8, his opponent went for knight d6, and he lost his game. Let's get back to Kleinman's game, because that was really crazy game. So let's once again go from the very beginning. Shabalov played and went for Nimzowitsch opening, e4, knight c6, knight f3, d6. Kleinman went for d4, knight f6, knight c3, g6. And then they all of a sudden found themselves in the Perk opening. So after h3, bishop g7, bishop e3, castles, queen d2, a6, bishop h6. I like this bishop h6. Bishop h6, he tries to swap this dark square bishops off, and in a way to weaken the position of the black's king. e5, bishop g7, king g7, long castles, queen e8, and for example, now he made a move knight d5. I like that move. It looks pretty interesting. So let's go knight d5, knight takes e4, and queen e1, queen e1. That was a crucial moment of this game. I mean, not queen e1, f5, d takes e5, d takes e5, and I believe after bishop c4 that this was the crucial moment of this game. So bishop c4, 14th move, he went for this bishop c4. He certainly has like a full compensation for the given material, for the given pawn, but I kind of like this position for him. Even though I was asking what would he do if rook goes to f7, he played that knight c3 move. That was a very nice retreat. By the way, many of you asked what here happens if knight takes c7 instead of yeah, everybody asked that. Why? What happens if d takes c5, d takes c5, and instead of bishop c4? Let's take a look at that variation, and then we're going to start the round 2. So because like there were like zillions of comments, what if knight c7? If knight c7, then queen f7, and if knight a8, queen takes a2. And I believe after queen a2, black just threatens queen a1 checkmate, because the knight on e4 controls the d2 square, escaping square for this guy. So I think this should be worse. If not lost, but for sure it should be worse for white. Once again, congratulations to Michael Kleiman. He made a fantastic comeback. This is such a big point, especially because it's against their highest rated opponent. And let's get started round 2. Let's get started with a game of Rainier Castellanos and Mike Brattain. Castellanos went for d4. Brattain went for d5. And after knight f3, knight f6, c4, e6, g3, Castellanos opted for his favorite Catalan opening. Okay, bishop g2, castles. So we're just following one of the main lines of the Catalan opening, and he went for b3. To be honest, I'm not that familiar with an immediate b3 without castles, but okay, it's just one of the options. You know, that is just one of those sidelines to avoid the d takes c4, so-called open Catalan. So after castle c6, now he will transpose with b3. Now he will transpose into the closed Catalan type of the game, where white is considered to be a bit better. Although he already wasted time for b3 and bishop b2, because in like pure Catalan and the best variation of the Catalan against the closed variation, black should be going with queen c2, knight d2, and e4. Here he went for the knight c3, and this is well-known position. Black will play b6, and either a bishop goes to b7 or bishop goes to a6. There is also a line with a5 for black and then bishop a6. So that depends on circumstances on the board, and that also depends on black's preferences in the game. By the way, what should be, for all of you who just see this Catalan opening for the first time, just to know, white wants to play queen c2, bishop b2, plays that rook from f1 to d1, and play knight e5. So this way he just wants to take control of the center, wants to open up the light square bishop on g2, and wants to get a game open. By the way, you never in this Catalan opening should be afraid of losing the c4 pawn, because you always have rook d1 and knight e5, but he plays queen to d3. Since I play these positions with black and white pieces, I'm not a big fan of queen d3 moves for white, but okay, probably because he lacked his rook on d1, he went for the queen d3 in order to do both, to support e4 and also to control c4. By the way, one of the main ideas by black in this position could be d takes c4, b takes c4, and e5 in some lines after e4. So black played c5, and this is pretty unclear position. But once again, it's not my cup of tea to put this queen on d3. Or just because I'm constantly holding this glass of whiskey, it's not my glass of whiskey. So I don't like this queen on d3, but still he threatens to play some e4 at some point. We'll see what's going to happen there. Let's move to the game of Robin van Kempen. Let's move to the game of Robin van Kempen. Wow, they already played like so many moves there. So Robin went for c4, knight f6, and lately he started playing English opening. So knight f3, knight c6, g3, bishop c5. By the way, this Atulya Shetty went for the line that I play for black. Bishop g2, d6, castles, and Robin went for the line a3. If you remember, last week, Aman Hamilton defeated Quesada Vasquez with an absolutely the same variation with white. So a6, d4, bishop e7, and h3. It's so typical. And last week I spoke about having knight on f6 and playing h6. Quesada went for a takes d4 and knight e7. This guy went for knight f6 and h6, placing that rook on f5, but he had to take on d4 and then to go with h6. Now I believe he made a mistake, and Robin correctly captured on e5, went for rook d8, queen d8, rook d8, played b3, bishop a3, rook to d3, rook fc1, rook a d8. Well, as far as I'm concerned, this game looks absolutely fine for black. But from another point of view, even though he managed to get control of the d file, I don't see that black does have control of any important squares in the center. Any important squares in the center, d4, e4, f4, g4, even h. All these squares are just in perfect control by white pieces. So I think this is fine. So I think this is fine for Robin. He went for the knight e1. What if rook d2? That would be interesting to see. By the way, we're watching the second round of the Pro League season 2018, Montreal Chessbrahs against Pittsburgh Pawngrabbers. This is the second round, and after the first round, the result is 2-2. So we're watching the game between Robin van Kempen and international master Untitled Chapter. So after knight e1, rook d2, Robin went for g4. Kicking that bishop away is usually a very nice idea by white. This looks okay. He maybe wants at some point to place that knight on e2 and goes to g3. I like that one. So we'll see. We'll see. At the moment, that position looks pretty interesting. So let's keep analyzing that game, and let's keep waiting for his move. So g4. Where can they play and put this bishop? I believe they can put the bishop on, for example, h7, also e6. So let's just wait and see what is his opponent going to do in that position. Okay. So we're following the game of Kempen and the Untitled Chapter. So g4, bishop c8. That's pretty interesting. g4, bishop c8. Robin captured c6 and played knight on f3. I like this transposition. It's very unusual when you decide to give up the light square bishop for the knight, but here he probably had in mind that he's just breaking the pawn structure, weakens these pawns. This is great. This is great positional decision by Robin, and I like his position so much. Now he captures the pawns. Now all these pawns are just falling down. Oh, this IM tries to come up with some tactics, but as far as I see, after knight c6, he's going to be nearly lost. He's going to be nearly lost there. Yeah, this is very interesting. This is very interesting, and looks like Robin will win this game very, very soon. What if knight c6? What if knight c6, rook g3, king h2, then knight, bishop f2, knight takes d8, so that one does not work. Also, no, this is completely winning. So it's time to check to, oh, okay, let's finish this game. Yeah, bishop takes e3. Now king g2, bishop c1, rook takes c1. He'll be up a piece, and that should be that winning. Yeah, so maybe not even king g2, maybe even king f1 should be enough in order not to give his opponent some checks on the second rank. Exactly. So bishop takes c1 and rook takes c1. Even if he doesn't want to give him any counter attack, he can even capture, believe it or not, by bishop and c1, and that position also looks okay. But he captured by rook. an IM from States tries the last chance with h5, tries to complicate, but this is completely winning. Okay, I'm very close to switch this game with another one, but you know what? I just believe that he's so close to win this game so soon. Yes, that we just have to see how the resignation of his opponent. So let's take a look at that. It's not even polite to play this being two pieces down against the GM who's 2650. Where is the respect? Okay, I guess this guy is very young. Usually young guys, that they don't want to resign, and they don't show like such a high respect for high rated players. Okay, we'll switch to another game. Robin will win this game, good news, and Montreal Chessbrahs will lead 3-2 after this game. So let's go to Hambleton's game. Shabalov against Hambleton. Let's begin from the very beginning, from the first move. E4, C5, Shabalov went for knight C3, started like a close Sicilian, and after E6, knight F3, knight C6, D4, they all of a sudden went into the timeout of defense, one of the main lines. Queen C7, F4. Yeah, this F4 line is considered to be crazy and pretty interesting for both sides. A6, knight takes C6, and here Black has the main option of capturing by queen. That's what Aman did. He captured by queen. He could also capture by pawn, either by pawn on d6 or b6, but in that case, after e5, white should be better. So after bishop d3, b5, queen e2 now threatens knight d5 at some point. Bishop b7, bishop d2, knight f6, e5. I'm not quite sure about the strength of this. I'm talking about the theoretical strength of this e5 move. It makes sense, of course. It removes the knight from f6, gets the e4 square for either his knight or bishop, and that's exactly what happened there. After bishop e4, Aman went for queen c5 along castles. Okay, Aman could go here for rook c8, bishop e7, or maybe I would if I was in his place, I would complete my development. So probably rook c8, but on rook c8, bishop d5, and bishop e3 looks dangerous. So rook c8 does not work. Same thing happens even if bishop e7. So neither rook c8 nor bishop e7 work here. Probably something else. Maybe knight c3, bishop e4, queen e4, and rook c8 for black. Maybe that one. Because obviously white threatens, I'll repeat again, bishop takes d5, bishop takes d5, and bishop e3. By the way, we got a great news. Robin van Kempen won there. We won't get back to that game because we already left that game where he was like that winning, and his opponent finally resigned. Congratulations, Robin. So far, perfect score. That's amazing. Okay, so bishop takes, yes, I spoke about this, knight takes c3. So bishop e4, I spoke about that as well. And probably rook c8. Aha, he went for queen c6. So he's looking for the end game. Queen c6, d takes c6 with a bit better end game, or let's just say queenless middle game for white. Shabalov doesn't want to exchange this queens and plays queen to d3. Okay, time to play either bishop e7 or bishop c5. That's one thing. Another thing could be rook c8 followed by b4 by black. That's also good. Yeah, okay, he went for bishop e7. Yeah, I like this one. Bishop e7. I spoke about that earlier. So rook c8 followed by b4. that should be his idea. On the other hand, white should probably triple his pieces along the d file and somehow try to win this pawn on d7. By the way, check out the time. Aman already left 4 minutes on the clock after nearly 15 moves, while his opponent has spent only 3 minutes so far. So Aman hasn't changed anything in terms of his time troubles. So h5, I like this move. I like this move very much. Haven't thought about that one at all. I like it very much. In case of g5, he'll play g6. In case they take, he would capture by rook and solidify his pawn structure with g6. Time to check the game of hero of the previous round, Michael Kleinman. So let's go back to his game against a Wonder Liang. So e4, c6, Caro-Kann, so knight f3, d5, knight c3. Lately, 2 knights variation, one of the most popular lines against the Caro-Kann. Kleinman went for a6. I remember my student Alexei Parov played this couple of games. Idea is to delay development of the light square bishop on c8 and to decide whether black should place this knight on g4 or to take on e4 and place bishop f5 at some point. A pretty interesting move. d4, bishop g4, h3, went back with this bishop on h5, e takes, c takes, and now a6 makes sense because it stops bishop e5 by white, and he just wants to play knight c6 afterwards. g4, bishop g6, h4. Threatens h5 to trap this bishop. Probably has to play h5 or h6. He did h6, knight e5, bishop h7, and g5. His opponent threatens to play g6. Pretty interesting move, and after knight c6 he went for g6. Kleinman certainly counted in this position, so f takes g6, bishop h3, knight f6, and bishop e6 threatens mate in 1. Bishop g8, what a crazy way to defend checkmate. I like this one, bishop g8. Somebody said this is terrible for black. I disagree. Okay, it doesn't look that good for black, but and after bishop g8, knight takes e5, knight g8. Now it looks bad. Now it looks bad because now it's white's turn. Did he really have to play knight e5 and to play like this? Couldn't he take rook g8? But okay, positionally his game looks pretty bad because of pawn on g6, because of broken pawn structure. This is well-known trick in the Caro-Kann when white pushes that pawn to g6 to sacrifice and to weaken the pawn structure. So after knight e5, d takes, knight g8, queen g4. Looks difficult, but there are many lines. I remember Anatoly Karpov, Yasser Serra, and they played like many times their Caro-Kann games with this pawn structure with even good success. Okay, not like exactly the same type of position, but that was just one of the ideas. There is one of the main lines in the knight c3 line, advanced variation of the Caro-Kann, where black gives up and creates a pawn structure like this and then breaks in the center with c6, knight c6 with a great game. Anyways, let's go to the game of, so once again, latest update is that we're leading 3-2 since Kempen won within like 3 minutes in a very interesting English opening. Let's go to Castellano's game. Let's go to Castellano's game. We haven't checked his game at all, so that was from the very beginning. Let's get back to the move 10 where he played queen to d3, and after queen to d3, c5, he played knight b5. That was very interesting move. D takes c4, b takes c4, bishop b7 makes sense, controls central square e4, rook f to d1, a6, and c takes, knight takes, swap the light square bishops, knight f3, and this is exactly what I told you, that he might have some problems with a c4 pawn. Let's immediately go, and then eventually look what happened. Knight f3, rook a c8, 18th move, knight e4, and he lost the pawn on c4. After bishop f6, knight f6, knight f6, rook a to b1. Castellanos seems to be, objectively speaking, technically lost in this position. He can try to defend this position, but position looks really bad. I told you that I didn't like his option with b3. That's why everybody plays short castles in that position, allowing d takes c4 by black, or c6 close castle. But then you have some other lines. You haven't spent your time for b3, and you just go with knight bd2, queen c2, and e4 straight away. Let's go to the final position in this game. Castellanos played 27th move, knight e5, and somehow he got lucky there. He doesn't look that lost anymore. Let's just go back to move. Let's just go back to move 21. Rook a b1 b5. Castellanos went for queen a3 because he seems to be almost lost here. And then all of a sudden position is almost equal. So 22nd move, queen a3, queen e2, queen a6. He captured the pawn on a6, and he now wants to get a pawn back on b5 as well. Rook c3. Okay, still fine for them. Queen b7. This is a nice way to put your queen on diagonal, controlling all these light squares around your king on g2. So queen b7, e5. And then he played rook to d2. I already now like his position in terms of defending himself. And after queen c4, he captured back on b5. And after e4, played knight e5. Well, as far as I'm considered, he's not anymore lost. And he was completely lost. If he even finds a good way to reposition this knight, he can be even better, because this pawn on e4 can only be good if black pushes it, for example, to e3. So it's white's turn. What is he gonna go for there? That's interesting. Should he play okay, knight d7. Knight d7 threatening bishop on f6 and rook on f8. Most likely this is going to be a draw, but we should be very happy because he managed to get a great comeback, just like Kleinman in the previous game, and that's very important. This round could be very important because slowly but surely we can take the lead in this match. So we're still waiting for the move by Mike Bretagne. Castellanos looks, this looks okay. Let's go back to Kempen's, sorry, not to Kempen's, to Hambleton's game. And we're now watching almost the end game. Let's try briefly to check what happened there. So 15th move, queen c6, bishop d3, queen d3, bishop e7, g4, h5. We stopped there. We said that the position looks fine. White played f5, which is like very a logical continuation, and played f6. G takes, bishop c5. Aman played long castle, and he had everything in control in that position. I like this one so much. So after 21 move, after he made a long castle, he fully took the initiative in that game. After bishop e5, rook h5, queen e2, queen f3, he traded off these queens and played d5. Rook to d3, bishop d6, and a4, rook f5, a takes. What did I want to move? Now let's go to the current position, because he was low on time. His position was always fine. But now his position looks way better. So rook a6. Why rook Why rook a4? Why not? Why rook a4? Why not rook? Rook a4. I didn't quite get what happened there, but okay. Rook takes b4. Probably he should. Yeah, exactly. And now he just has to start pushing these pawns. King gets closer, wants to go on d6 and to start pushing these pawns. This should be practically winning. Okay, don't forget he's down on time, so it might be a bit difficult. And don't forget he's always playing with our nerves, because he will play his every single movement in the sorry, in the last second. By the way, this will be intense. He needs to get closer to the pawn on e6 in order to start pushing these pawns. Oh, I love this one. If b5, rook c4, checkmate. I like this one. So and also it will be good if he gives check, plays that rook on b5, goes with a king closer to the pawn on e6, king d6, and then start pushing the pawns with like f5, f4, and so. So king d6 looks absolutely fine. King d6 was also good. But rook c4 also nice, because he's pointing out how weak are those pawns on b4 and c2. And look what he's doing. Look what he's doing. Okay, he's completely winning, but now he's going to blitz out like the whole game, which is not a problem for him, because he's certainly one of the best blitz players in the world. And king c6. I like this one. He's squeezing out his opponent. On b5, king c5. Don't worry about that. By the way, don't forget, time control is 15 minutes plus 2 seconds. So he can never lose on time. So you don't have to worry. He had to play king d6, not a rook on e4. Yes, f4. Yes, very close to resignation by Shabalov. Probably he didn't even have to play this move. But okay, here. Why this move? Why rook c4, rook c8? Why not? Why didn't he wait and just push his pawns? Okay, e5 now, exactly. d4. Oh, his opponent also wants to come up with some tricks. Oh my goodness. He blundered c4 in that position. Wow, this gets completely crazy. That's the problem when you're in time trouble all the time. You just don't have a time to... I don't think a rook to d3, he will have to play f2. So probably c7 for white. Rook b2, e2. He will have to... he'll have to take on b7, but this is lost because he doesn't have check. Yeah, this is lost now. Shabalov has now enough time to think about this position. Position looks pretty complicated. Wow. Well, I spoke to a man this week, and we spoke about his time troubles, and I just asked him kindly to be a better time consumer in his games, because look, he's just playing so good that he doesn't have to spend so much time. And now he spoiled his position, and unfortunately he's gonna lose this one. Queen c6, for example, rook b5, and yeah, even this one. And now queen e6. Queen e6, and in case of king d3, queen a6, winning the queen on f1. Queen a6 here. Exactly. Okay, time to switch to the game of Kleinman. Time to switch to the game of Kleinman. Kleinman lost against Avonder Liang, which means that we have to switch to the game of Castellanos, who plays white. So, pretty bad round. Hambo lost, completely winning position against Shabalov. Avonder Liang defeated Kleinman. Kempen won, and now once again We're depending on one game. Most likely this is going to be a draw. Looks like a very equal position, but this match turns out to be way tougher than I thought it could be. I knew that it would be like pretty tough match, even though, like I said previously, ratings of these guys are way lower than the ratings of the guys from the last week. I'm talking about Miami Champions team, but still, this is young team and they have a tricky players. So Queen F3, King H3, Castellanos is now lost. Rook. What if Rook C3 C6? What if Rook C3 C6? I believe that he just blundered. Rook C3 C6, exactly. That was my guess. Yeah, that was my guess. He can now hardly defend checkmate. Rook takes H6 is almost unstoppable. Well, that was a pretty bad round. We lost 3-1. What I found very weird about this round is that Hambleton managed to lose that position, even though he was down on time. He's very experienced. He's great. He just blundered that C4. So far, I just have to say that Kempen has like perfect performance on the. He made like 2 out of 2, but this will be very tough. By the way, don't forget, time control in these games 15 minutes plus 2 seconds. And by the way, once one team scores 8.5 points, that team wins the match. So by the way, 5-3 for Pittsburgh Pawngrabbers, which means they just need 3.5 points more. Although some real games are coming. What I have to say here is that probably Castellanos is out of shape at the moment. He keeps blundering a lot of times and a lot of things in these games, but okay, happens. For example, last week he made a couple of nice games, even though, for example, remember he just drew that final game. Let's just check the game of Kleinman and his opponent, because it was very nice. Warner Liang. Let's just start from the beginning. So I think that game certainly deserves to be replayed because it was a nice game by white. E4 C6, knight F3 D5, knight C3, and Liang won for A6 third move. Just like I said, you just delay development of the light square bishop. After D4, went for bishop G4. Bishop G4, H3, bishop H5, E takes D5, C takes D5, G4, bishop G6, H4. I believe he had to play some H5 in this position. In my opinion, it's better than H6, but I'm not sure. He played H6, knight A5, bishop H7, and G5. I like G5 move. For example, E5, yeah, G5 threatens G6. He played knight C6, trying to challenge that knight on E5, G6, F takes G6. By the way, I once again have to say that this looks bad at first glance, but okay, it's playable for black. There are many Caro-Kann positions where you can play like this. After bishop H3, this move I like very much. Goes to control the light squares, wants to place this bishop on E6 to threaten checkmate on F7 and to also take on D5 if possible. So after knight F6, bishop E6, bishop G8. I loved previously on this bishop G8 move because even though this position looks a little bit sad for black, it doesn't look that lost or that bad at first glance. So after knight E5, D takes E5, knight G8. Somehow now I don't like it ever since he took on e5. So this is the moment that I would simply point out as a crucial moment in this match. So after knight e5, d takes, knight g8, queen g4, queen b6, bishop b3, queen b2, king d2. Wow, I like the game. I like the game. King d2 defends the knight, threatens rook b1, wants to take on g6, wants to play e6. Wow, I like king d2 so much. Yeah, that is the move. That's the move that won this game. So d4, Kleinman tries to come up with some tactics. Bishop d4, g5, and after rook to b1, queen a3, rook takes b7, a6, queen h5, king d8, and bishop b6. The most beautiful game of the match so far. That one for sure. Second thing, now we just see why is this kid considered to be one of the chess prodigies in the United States, and this really looks good. Okay, let's go to, we're now just waiting for the third round, and in the meantime I just had to take a glass of water. So the match will be very tough. We're losing 5-3. Although there is one hope, because Kempen is playing in good shape. He's certainly higher rated than Shabalov and Wonder Liang, so he will be favorite in both of these games. I once again have to say that last rounds are the most unclear rounds, simply because people who are close to their ratings face each other. So Kleinman is going to face off third and the fourth board for this Pittsburgh Pawngrabbers, as well as Castellanos. So these are our hopes. Let's see what's gonna happen. And by the way, somebody, that was a beautiful game. Well, for me, that was well conducted attack in the game by White. So we're now waiting for the third round to begin. By the way, once again, I have to repeat, we're losing 5-3 against Pittsburgh Pawngrabbers. By the way, for all of you, just an information, for all of you who want to come up with some donations, or who simply want to subscribe, or you do subscribe or do the donation during the broadcast, it would be visible in the end of this match. So just to know that one. Okay. Still, we're waiting for the third round to begin. Somebody said that was an ugly game. Of course it was an ugly game, because our player and our teammate played a game like this, but it's always a beautiful game if you're looking at that game from another point of view. Okay, so in the third round, let me just tell you the pairings of the third round. Robin van Kempen will play a Wonder Liang. Castellanos will face Shabalov. Hambleton will play Mika Bretain, and Kleinman will play Shetty. Even though we're losing right now 5-3, anything can happen in the next two rounds. I believe, look at this, Kempen is higher rated than a Wonder Liang. Castellanos is just low rated than Shabalov, but okay, I mean, anything can happen in that game. Hambleton is certainly favored against Bretain, and Kleinman, he has pretty good chances against Atula Shetty. So I believe we have a good chance to, if not to equalize after this round, at least to get closer before the last round. So will be very, very difficult, but also will be very interesting, will be very entertaining. So I hope you enjoy. By the way, for all of you, I just have to repeat once again, for all of you who criticize me because I'm not using the engine moves. Sorry, but I think that's the worst thing one can do. And please don't ever mention to me that one anymore, because if you want to use commentary and to use engines, that's simply far from human chess. Let's go. Third round. Let's get started. We're now analyzing the game between Hambleton and Mika Brethane. Let's go. Somebody in the chat room said we need Hambo to win some games. Hambo will win this one, believe me. So, sorry, it's not Mika, it's Mike. So, Hambo against Mike Brethane. Let's go. Once again, Hambo goes for Carlsen's London system, or let's just say his favorite one. He goes with his knight f3. That's what Kramnik plays, knight bd2. In case of queen b6, d takes c5. In case of e6, he'll go with c3 and bishop b5. That became so popular lately. But his opponent took on d4 and opted for some sort of Caracan type of game. Okay. So queen b6 threatens the pawn on d4. Knight b3 simply has to be played in that position. Knight b3. Bishop g4. Yeah, he like just tries to complete development of the light square bishop and tries to weaken the pawn on d4. This is solid game for white, and I like it. Okay, so bishop e7. Hambo will play in this position following moves. He'll play c3 to solidify his pawn structure. He can even chase away that queen on b6 with some a4 and a5. He'll certainly go with some h3 to win the bishop pair, in case black is ready to give up the light square bishop. So h3, that's exactly what he did, and now it would be interesting moment to see would black go back with that bishop on h5 or play bishop f3. Black went back to h5 and wants to play bishop g6 afterwards. Okay, let's go to the game of Kleinman and Atul Asheri. Oh, I like the opening. It was French, e4, e6. Kleinman went for the first time for a solid opening with white pieces. He played Tarrasch. It's considered to be good against French. Michael Adams kills just everyone for all these years. Queen d5, knight g on f3, c takes, bishop c4, queen d6, castles, knight f6, and this is one of the main lines where white just captures d4, captures back by knight, and plays rook e1, threatening some, actually putting and exerting some pressure on the e6 pawn, plus threatening some knight f5 once the queen goes from the d1. After queen c7, he went back to f1. This is very popular line for white. Bishop f1 is considered to be one of the biggest problems at the moment for black players in this variation. Simply, it avoids all those crazy stuff with knight f5, knight g7, queen f3 lines by white, and also gives you a very, very solid approach with g3 followed by bishop g2. This is interesting. Then his opponent went for bishop e7, which is not so typical in these positions because usually bishop goes on d6. And Kleinman played nice, queen f3, getting some space, played bishop f4. I also like it. I have to say, and after bishop d6, he took on d6, played rook a to d1, and went for g4. This is interesting about Kleinman. I mean, don't get me wrong, but for example, if I was white, I would never play g4. I mean, his position is so solid. He's got a pawn majority. He's got these rooks on the open files. He's got space advantage. Why does he have to go wild with g4 in that position out of nowhere? I mean, c4 would be nice, getting some space, taking away the square on this knight on f6. G3 would be solid, placing that bishop on G2 afterwards to attack that pawn on B7, but playing G4 looks a little bit like Oh, but you know what? After g4, black should never play h6 in my opinion. He goes for h6, and now he justifies his g4. Now it's okay. Now I like, okay, now you go with g4 and h4, now go all in. So I guess he wants some sort of redemption for the previous loss. h takes g5. Okay, I like it now. Now it turned out to be good because the guy played h6, but still, did he really, you know, you played a rush opening and then all of a sudden you go into complete craziness. Okay, that depends on style, I guess. So, knight h7, black wants to play queen. He cannot play queen d8. He cannot play queen d8. I'm thinking about queen h5 here. I'm also thinking about a move like, yeah, I like the queen h5 move in this position. I like the queen h5 move in this position. Also, what else is a possibility? I want to move my queen somewhere so I can push g6 and weaken this pawn on e6. So now this looks okay, seriously. But I believe that black made him, yeah, queen h5, exactly. Exactly, and black cannot play queen d8 to threaten that pawn on g5. Not because of g6, then black would have queen g5. But I believe after queen h5, they just go with what is gonna happen there? So queen h5, queen d8, probably f4, and then g6 would be threat altogether with bishop d3 and knight e6, and this is looking good for Kleinman now. His g4 turns out to be fine in this situation. Let's go to Kempen's game. Kempen, who's the good brighting star in today's Chessbrah team, won both games. Let's go from the beginning. Wonder Liang went for e4, g6. Kempen really goes with some crazy openings lately. English opening with white and modern defense with black. For a guy who's like so theoretical, I didn't expect this g6. Okay, so bishop g7, knight c3, d6, bishop e3, and went for a6. By the way, this is so-called modern defense or Russian opening. Somebody called it Russian system. Idea is to delay development of the knight on g8 and to actually remain with the knight on g8 as long as possible. So even if white goes with bishop e3, queen d2, trying to do that bishop h6 idea, it is not going to be that easy because knight on g8, as long as it stands there, it's almost impossible. After h4, h5, queen d2, b5, long castles, knight d7, this knight went to b6, knight g5, b4, knight e2, knight c4. This is interesting moment of the game. I wonder Liang decides to to give up the dark square bishop for the pawn on b4. It's a pretty interesting moment of the game because Kempen now has possession of the bishop pair for the pawn. That's interesting. That's pretty interesting. By the way, when you simply feel like you can play openings like this, like Kempen is doing right now, then it really means you're a strong player. So this is good. I like his position. He's got a good compensation, even though if you analyze this is, for example, for all those guys who like engines so much, if you analyze this on engines, engine would probably like position with a pawn up so much for white, but from practical point of view, bishop d7, queen e7, rook b8, a5, a4, a3 looks like a great compensation and counterattack for black. Sorry, I just had to take some whiskey to recover myself a little bit from talking too much. Bishop h6. Is he really interested in getting the pawn back? So, okay. He would love to capture bishop takes g5, h takes g5, queen takes g5. Yeah, this looks good. I also like bishop d7 followed by queen e7 and rook f to b8. I also like this one. Knight f4 to h3. Knight f4 to h3. I don't especially like this move. Simply doesn't seem to be that good. You're just removing your knight from the center of the board. Okay, you're over protecting knight on, yes, queen e7. Maybe e5 now for white, solving the problem of the double pawns. Maybe not queen e7, maybe bishop d7. Okay, so queen e7 with the idea of bishop d7, rook f to b8, and black has a good game. Also, does he threaten f6 in this position? That would be interesting to point out here. f6, knight f3, and taking on e3 afterwards with check and getting a great game. Yeah, this looks okay. This looks so e5. I thought about that move immediately. If I had black, I would have played bishop d7 first. Bishop d7 and then queen e7, because I don't quite like this e5 move by white. But okay, still the game is ongoing. Let's go to Castellanos' game. Let's go to Castellanos. Shabalov against Castellanos. Shabalov is white. Let's begin from the very beginning. E4, c5, knight c3, e6, knight f3, a6. He went for can opening if white goes with d4. Shabalov went for g3, d6, bishop g2, knight c6, castles, knight f6, and when everybody expected that white will go with d4 and enter the main line, he played the d3. The main idea of this d3 is to remove the knight from the center and start pushing these pawns on the king side. For example, knight f1, knight to e1, playing f4, g4, g5, and getting a pretty good game for white. So after bishop e7, knight g5, also the same idea. h6, knight h3, queen c7, f4, castles, g4. That's why I told you in the beginning of this broadcast, this is exactly why Shabalov is considered to be one of the most interesting tournament players. His games are always full of sacrifices, always full of unexpected solutions, also very creative in the out of the openings. So I like this guy very much. After g4, knight h7, Castellanos controls g5, g5, and plays knight to e5. Usually when white tries to do all these moves like f4, g5, and when they just commit themselves a little bit, it's okay for black. Black has a very nice flexibility, and black has a very nice, or should have a nice game. After bishop e3, bishop d7, queen h5, nice defensive move by Castellanos, bishop e8. Queen e2, queen d8, threatening pawn, queen d2, knight g4. Could he play e5 in this position? That's the question for Castellanos. Could he play e5 in this position and win the pawn on g5? I'm just wondering. e5, bishop e3, knight takes e3, followed by knight g5. If e5, bishop g3, knight g5. Why didn't he play e5 here? That's my question. So probably in this position was e5. Anyways, after bishop f4, f6, g takes, bishop takes, knight e2, played queen e7, c3, bishop c6, bishop g3, and played e5. Well, I once again have to say that I like his position very much. For example, I'm not sure if I'd ever consider this move e5, but it looks really nice. It controls g5, f4, d4 squares. I like this one so much, and he probably wants to play now knight g5, getting back that knight into the game. Wow, this really looks nice. Yeah, knight g5. Also, I see rook a to d8 followed by d5 as another possibility to play in the center. We need some comeback. We need some surprise. We need a good game. So let's get back to the game of Kempen. I know we've seen that game pretty recently, but that game is important. Kempen. So we're getting back to the move number 18 when white went and played e5, c5. Why c5? Why did he play c5 in that position? That one. Aha, because if e takes d6, queen takes d6, rook on g3 is hanging. Okay, that's why he played c5. Now he took on e5, and on bishop e2 played f6. Bishop g4, h takes g4, queen takes g4, and Kempen captured g5. Well, as far as I see, he's up a piece. But after queen e4, what a move. What a move. I thought about h takes g5, and I was wondering what would happen there after h takes g5, bishop g7, but all of a sudden, after queen e4, it's very, very difficult for black. Well, surprisingly, a good role by these guys in this match. Okay, not surprisingly by Liang and Shabalov, but whole team so far has been playing really, really strong. So queen e4. Robin is in problems. Queen g6 is threatened. Knight g5. Rook on a8. This looks, somebody said bishop b7, but if bishop b7 I can play c6, hitting your bishop, threatening rook d7, going with a knight g5, queen takes g6. All these things at the same time. So this is quite interesting. As far as I see, this looks better for white. I'm not sure if white is like winning, but once again, if I had to choose the side, definitely it would be white. Yeah, okay. Difficult position for Robin. He played rook e7, queen g6, queen g7, and now it's his turn. It's his turn, so queen g7. Okay, he's up a piece, but Wonder has 3 pawns for that piece. Also, his king is weak. And this is pretty difficult position. In a practical game, in rapid chess, to defend this is very difficult. He can make a move, but and by the way, but even if you want to play good moves in position like this, it requires like a serious amount of time. Okay, let's move to the game of Hambleton. Hambleton playing white against Mike Brethane. That's a very important game. So let's go back to the moment where he played 11th move a4. Well, I spoke about that. I spoke about a4 and a5, kicking that queen away. G4, bishop g6, knight e5. So let's go back to the move 11. a4, a5, g4, bishop g6, knight e5. Knight e5, d takes e5, getting some space. Bishop b5, I like this move. That's the meaning and importance of that a4 by white, because it allowed him to play bishop b5 at the proper moment. Queen c7, played c4, I like it. He just wants to show to his opponent that he's the one to be in the driver's seat here. If d takes c4, rook to c1, that's exactly what happened. Bishop e4, rook c4, bishop c6, knight e4, amazing. Bishop c6, b takes c6, and queen to f3. After rook c8, rook f c1, queen d7, man played queen to c3, knight e4, and it's his turn. It's his turn. You know what? Queen takes a5. Does it work? Queen takes a5, and afterwards knight takes c6. He went for queen e3, also nice. So this knight feels kind of trapped in this position. Okay, I want to check Kleinman's game. Let's switch to Kleinman's game because Aman seems to be winning. Kleinman played that crazy g4, and exactly that pawn had to be lost at some point. I was criticizing the g4 move. You know, you play solid opening, you have everything, you have pawn majority. Let's get back to 16th move, rook 81, queen c7, and let's get back to that, in my opinion, very big positional mistake, g4. So he went for g4 in position where c4 would definitely secure him a very easy game, where, you know what, queen g3, trading off the queens, playing h takes g3, f3, marching up with his king to the center. That would certainly be a bet, a lot better for white. g4 was bad, h6, h4, but even after that, I like his, okay, his opponent made mistake with h6, but then it definitely gave him chance in that position. 92, did he really have to give up a pawn here? 92, queen g5, bishop g2, captured, rook to d3, and after e5, knight g3. By the way, we just have to keep in mind, okay, let's go to the final position in 30th move, king f1, g6. I just want to say, Kleinman made a big win. He beat Shabalov, but let's just wait for break done by Castellanos in this match. Last time he did that famous draw, because thanks to that draw we won that match. But to win this match according to positions on the board would be very difficult, if you ask me. So knight d6, it's black's turn. So let's just do a brief recap. Robin is worse. Kleinman is worse. Hembo is better, much better. And let's go to Castellanos' game. Let's go to Castellanos' game. I like Castellanos' game very much. Things haven't changed too much. He actually, wait a sec. Castellanos played in that position. Oh, actually, it did change. It did change. Oh, sorry. For a moment, my board on chess.com got frozen and I couldn't see any of the moves. Let's go to that game. We're not going to replay now moves. Actually, let's try to replay the moves. Let's try to replay the moves and see the moment 22nd move when he played e5. Just briefly to check what was happening. Shabalov played c4. I was talking about rook a8 and d5. Bishop h4, trying to swap off these bishops. Knight c3, took on g3, and played knight to f6. That's very interesting. Okay, So after knight h to f6, queen e2, bishop d7, bishop f3, knight to h6. I'm not so sure about knight h6, and was it forced? Probably because of knight d5, and the knight on g4 was hanging. Knight f2, g6, king g2, king g7. Okay, normal, rook h1, rook h8. When the rook came to h4, another rook came to h7, and Castellanos swapped off these rooks after knight f7, rook h7, king h7, played rook h8, opposed the rook on h1, and this looks good. This looks good. Castellanos is good in discount positions. Let's go to the final position. I believe that he has better chances. He's got a chances to push this position and to play it on a win. So he's got better chances. So Aman is better. Castellanos is slightly better, but Kempen was worse, and another guy, Kleinman, is just worse, playing position down a pawn in that endgame. So bishop d7. I kind of like this one. Restricts the knight and bishop on the king side. Also threatens maybe to play some bishop e6 and to go after the c4 pawn. Knight d1, no big deal. Let's just see what is he gonna go for, which move should he do there. Well, as far as I see, bishop e6 looks okay, threatening the pawn c4. Apart from that move, maybe knight h6 followed by, followed by bishop h3 and knight g4. Bishop e6, okay. Okay, he's just a bit better, and he's just trying to grind his opponent down. Let's go to Kempen's game. Kempen, we do not have time to move to the starting position. Not the starting position, I mean to the position where we stopped following this game, but Kempen seems to be worse. Kempen seems to be not worse, he seems to be completely lost. I actually see rook to h1, king b1 in order not to allow queen a1 check, any counterattack. And now he played queen c3. I don't see what is he gonna do against rook c1. Sorry, rook h1. Yeah, this kid is beating up Chessbrah teammates tonight. I wonder Liang in a big shape tonight. Let's just hope that Robin van Kempen will find some tricks and be able to counterattack him this game, but it's very difficult on this level. Let's be honest, it's very difficult on this level. It's possible to happen sometimes, but it's very difficult. Yeah, let's go to another game. This is lost. Let's go to Aman's game. Aman is winning. Oh, at the very first glance and look at the board, Aman is winning. And what I like the most, Aman is even much better. Speaking of his time, that's great, because if he's got like 2 pieces for the rook, if his time is better, then guys, you don't have to worry, he's gonna win the game. So maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe I'm not supposed to say that, but I guarantee he's gonna win this game. So I don't want to analyze this game so much. We'll get back to it. Let's go to Castellanos. Let's go to Castellanos. Castellanos looks better. His position looks better and better. He keeps getting some space. Pawn on g3 is weak. Pawn on e4 potentially weak. c4 pawn potentially weak as well. White does not have so much space for his pieces. I like what I'm seeing here. I like what I'm seeing here. Castellanos has everything in his hands, so this is good. Last update, Robin van Kempen is after g7 probably going to resign his game. probably going to resign his game, and I wonder Liang made a really great game. We have to go to Kleinman's game. By the way, sorry for jumping from one game to another, but now it's important. So Hembo is gonna win. Kleinman is... What's gonna Kleinman going to do if Rook b2? Exactly. Well, I just have to repeat again and again, how could he play that g4 in position where he had position a la carte? I mean, he just chose how to grind down his opponent afterwards. So this is a bit difficult. This is a bit difficult situation. So most likely I'm not saying Kleinman is gonna lose, but for sure he's not gonna win this game. Robin already resigned, so 6-4. We've got a good news. We've got a good news. Finally, we've got a good news because Hambleton won. And finally, let's go to Castellanos in his game, because we need Castellanos to do something in that game. That's the only hope that if something good happens in that game, we can hold this team at least, maybe even compete in the last round, because anything can happen in the last round. You remember the last year and semifinals against the St. Louis Archbishops, we lost in those. Okay, bishop c2 gives up the light square bishop. I believe this could be an important moment of the game. Queen h8 I would go for. Castellanos takes on d5. It's not a problem, it looks okay. Okay, and queen f6. I like his knights. His knights must be better in this position. So after bishop d5, he takes queen f6. He has to be better in this position, because knights are definitely way more and way better than these bishops. Especially look at the bishop on c2 and look at the knight on d4. I guarantee Castellanos is not gonna lose this game, but I can't say if he'd be able to win this one. Okay, what I don't like, he's running out of time. That's the thing that I don't like. By the way, at the moment, Montreal Chessbrahs against Pittsburgh Pawngrabbers, 6-4. 6-4. We're losing. Don't forget, Kleinman is still, his game is still ongoing. He's lost. And in this game, Castellanos is trying to save the team. Save the team, because if we lose on the board of Kleinman, yeah, it's a draw. It's a draw. I believe he could have pushed more in this position. I believe he could have pushed more, especially because, but okay, with a bad score tonight, 2 losses already. This is pretty bad situation. 7.5 to 4.5. You know what? They just need 2 draws. They just need 2 draws or 1 win. Practically lost match. But anything can happen. 4 games more. Now Kempen will face Shabalov. Now Hambleton will face I wonder Liang. Hembo is fast. We gotta put all our hopes there. Somebody asked in the chat room, when is he going to? When is Hembo going to start beating up his opponents? He just started, so he's on the roll. He won the game. Let's wait and to see what may happen in the last round. Don't forget, we were leading like this against St. Louis Archbishops last year, and 2 times we would lose our advantage in the final match and in the final round. Okay, I'm just going to take a glass of water. So please give me just a moment. I'm leaving for 1 minute. Well, guys, I'm back. We're in the broadcast of the second round of the Pro League Atlantic Division between Montreal Chessbrahs and Pittsburgh Pawngrabbers. Surprisingly, we're losing 4.5 to 7.5. These guys are playing beyond their actually beyond my expectations. We all knew that this was going to be a very hard match, but it's beyond my expectations. And to lead 7.5 to 4.5, we're not having like so, I don't know. I would just say we were a little bit unlucky in some of the games. Okay, Kleinman beat Shabalov in that position where he was lost. On the other hand, Hembo was completely winning against Shabalov, then he lost that game. Probably that was one of the crucial moments of those games. Also, let's see. They just need like one more point, but anything can happen. Why? Because let's analyze the pairings of the last round. By the way, we're just expecting the fourth round to begin. So Robin Van Kempen will play Shabalov. Robin is definitely favorite in that match, especially because he's going to have white. Castellanos will be black against a Wonder Liang. That's difficult. That's difficult, and objectively speaking, wait a sec, is that in the fourth round? Then Aman Hambleton against, wait a sec, where do I get this in the third round? Yeah, Aman Hambleton against Tulia Shari and Michael Kleinman against Mike Brethane. Well, we do have chance. If you analyze very carefully these pairings, we do have a chance. And by the way, don't forget, since Ledbridge said objectively speaking lost, I wouldn't say he's lost. I would still say let's believe that they can make a miracle here. They just, but I know 3.5 points to win in order not to lose. But Liang is playing really good tonight. No, he does not play good. He plays fantastic, and also Castellanos made in that last game draw. I believe he could have pushed more, but he's not in good shape anyways. When you're not in good shape, you do not have like enough confidence. And let's go. Let's get started. Fourth round of the Pro League. Second round, Atlantic Division. Montreal Chessbrahs against Pittsburgh Pawngrabbers. 4.5 to 7.5. And can they do a miracle and get like 3.5 points to equalize the match? Or maybe make the craziest comeback and win all 4 games. We're analyzing the game between Atulya Shetty and Aman Hambleton. So it was English opening, c4, e5, g3, knight f6, bishop g2, c6. Aman went for that variation, and after bishop b4, bishop d2, queen d2, d6, he opted for very popular line that's considered to be absolutely fine for black. So judging by the very first thing, position on the board, black seems okay. Hembo won his last game. Let's hope he's favorite in this game. Let's hope that he can win this one as well, especially because he's really in good shape. Even that game against Shabalov that he lost, he deserved to win. The only problem is that he's constantly going into very severe time troubles, and many times great positions spoiled there. Okay, d takes c5. Interesting move. D takes c5. Black should be fine with any endgame here. What I don't like about this is that these guys need to make draw, but okay, Aman also has to play very objectively, very objective with black pieces, not trying to force anything, because this is more like theoretical thing. Knight f3. Okay, these guys play now on a draw, so knight f3. Position is already equal. Black doesn't have any problems out of the openings, but do they really want to pose any problems to our players, or they just want to make and do like 2 easy draws and win the match? By the way, once again, once the team scores 8.5 points, wins the match. The time control in these games is 15 minutes plus 2 seconds increment. And by the way, for all of you who just joined, this is the last round of this second round match, and it approximately takes 40 minutes. So this is 40 pretty interesting minutes. Okay, so Aman's position already looks good. And maybe this is a bad approach, because when you, that's like a practical approach for all of you when you play your games. When you're looking for a draw, don't ever exchange pieces and just look for a draw like that. Play normal. Play normal. That's the best way to get something, because this way your psychology is just different. So I hope that Aman is gonna squeeze out his opponent. Okay, let's go to Kempsey or Robin van Kempen. Robin playing white, so he played e4 once again. Shabalov went for the Nimzowicz opening, knight f3, d6, d4, knight f6, and then Robin went with d5. By the way, don't forget, Robin lives in the Netherlands, Europe, and it's nearly 3 a.m. here, so have respect and also understanding for this guy, and probably he would even play better. By the way, Robin so far made 2 out of 3, lost only the previous round game against the wonder Liang, but I'm just saying it's difficult to play at this time. Also, I have some understanding for your commentator because it's 3 a.m. here as well. So, bishop d3, g6, Castles, bishop g7, c4, castles, knight c3, c6, rook e1, bishop g5, h6, bishop e3. I like Robin's position. He's certainly better. Queen d4, queen c7, rook c1, rook f2, e8, queen d2, king h7, and a3. Robin has a very, very comfortable position. Very comfortable position. I like it so much. He's got space. He's got bishop pair. He's got white pieces. And he also has like 3 a.m. at his place, which is another good actually compensation for black in this pretty sad position for black already. Bishop c2, I like it. b4 is coming and white is so much better. I like this one. Great game for Robin. Okay, so I'm unequalized. Robin is having good position. Let's take a look at Castellanos. Castellanos play against the Wonder Liang, probably the most the guy who's in the best shape tonight of all these guys that they play tonight. I like Castellanos' position. What I didn't like before this match, that Castellanos will have white. That's a good thing. That's a good thing because Wonder Liang is their at the moment best player in the team. I mean tonight, and this is a good way to stop him. So let's go with h3. He just wants to stop bishop g4. Okay. What is white trying to do? He wants to play rook e1 followed by knight f1 and knight g3, a typical Ruy Lopez plan. So this is normal position. Let's go to Kleinman. Let's go to Kleinman. I'll tell you one thing about Kleinman. So it was knight f3, c5, c4, knight c6, d4, c takes knight d4, knight f6, e6, knight db5, and d5. He went for d5, and after d5, I know this position, black should already be absolutely fine. Bishop f4, e5, c takes, e takes f4, b takes, queen d8. Another guy who in this team went to exchange these queens, and another guy who is going to most likely play a bit worse position against our teammate. So knight f3, black looks fine here as well. This is interesting. Castellanos has normal game. Kleinman, if you ask me, has pretty good position to play and win. Hamilton has pretty good position to play and win. I know that those are objectively speaking equal games, but still chances are on our sides. And let's take a look at Robin van Kempen's game, who's got a great position against Shabalov, and I suspect he's going to miss this chance. So we're just analyzing game between Kempen and Shabalov. 20th move by black, knight a6. By the way, I just have to you know, simply switch very fast from one to another game, because this is the last round and we just need like a very fast and updated coverage, not just to follow one game. It's not enough. Somebody said that I'm so optimistic. Well, you gotta believe in miracles. And why? Don't you want to believe in our guys? Do you want to say that we're gonna lose? Don't say, and don't talk like that. So Kempen played rook b1, Shabalov plays rook a8. This is much better for Kempen. This is much better for Kempen. So let's switch to the game of Aman Hamilton. So I'd like to go back to move 11 when white played knight f3. So after knight f3, rook e8, h3, a5, controls the dark squares, knight a6, knight b6, rook b8. He now gave up that bishop on c8, and you know what? The more I look at this position, the more I believe that Aman can surprise his opponent in this game. It's okay, it's normal position, it's equal, but I like black situation. Black can play king f8, king e7. He can play g6, marching up with his king closer to the king side. He can play knight c5, knight after d7, just solidify his position somehow there. Okay, so king e2, it's Aman's turn. He certainly shouldn't put the rooks in the d file where they objectively belong, because this is an interesting situation for it. In all the previous, for example, previous year, you remember Chessbrah won 7 matches out of 8 in Atlantic Division, and out of those 7 matches, I don't remember that we actually, if we won 7 matches, we never had problems like this before the last round. So this is the first time our players experience such a problem. So what do you have to do in these situations? You should not play objectively best, and you have to try something. You have to try something risky. You should not play, for example, anyone would play rook d8 and equalize the game on the spot here. You can't. Why? Because he would play rook d1 and simply keep on swapping off pieces. Okay, so once again, second round of the Pro League between Montreal Chessbrahs and Pittsburgh Pawngrabbers. This is the 4th round of the match between these two teams, 7.5 to 4.5 for Pittsburgh, and we just need to see a miracle. We do believe in miracles. By the way, my name is Miodrag Perunovic. I'm international master and I'm commentator tonight. So let's go. Kempen. Let's get back to Kempen. I want to get back to Kempen. He keeps improving. He keeps improving. Look at this. He wants to play. This is a famous trick. He wants to play e5, d takes f5, killing his opponent. Kempen is in a great position here. I like his position so much. He's in full control. He wants to play e5 followed by f5. Kempen will win. Kempen will win. He's not going to miss his chance. I'm pretty sure about that. Kempen. Okay, let's switch to the game of Kleinman. Kleinman keeps getting okay, normal position, but Kleinman can easily opt for some crazy g4 or g5 at some point. So that's what we need now. Now we need this kind of moves. Now you have to go with some action. Kempen has a bishop pair, but still his pawns are broken and this position is roughly equal. They have better pawn structure, but black does have a bishop pair. And finally, let's just switch to the game of Castellanos. And let's get back to game of Castellanos, where we played 11th move h3, h6, rook e1, bishop e6, knight c4, that's a typical idea, knight e7, bishop e3, bishop f6, controls the d4, and knight h2, wants to go with this knight on g4, chasing this bishop away on f6. So after bishop g5, it's white's turn. I don't know, I'm just not sure about the move knight. Actually, all these moves are more or less normal for both sides. So after knight h2, bishop g5, he now went with the bishop on a4. It's nice. This way you're just weakening the pawn, not the pawn structure, I mean the queen side, and in a way you just want to take some actions there. So now it's a really difficult question. Should you take by bishop on c6? Should you take by knight on e3, by pawn on e3, or by rook on e3? Very difficult situation. Okay, Robin van Kempen. Let's check that game. Let's check that game. Robin van Kempen completely winning. Robin is going to win in probably crucial moments for us. Robin is winning. He just needs to figure out a way to break this f5. So Robin's game looks really, really powerful. He plays queen d5. He keeps improving. I told you he's not going to miss this one, so he won't miss a chance. Let's go to Aman's game. Aman played objectively the move that I proposed not to be played. But okay, he swapped off a pair of rooks, not like both. So knight d2, knight c5, and this is current position. 19th move. Black looks okay. He probably wants to go with some rook d8, and also maybe to go with some knight a4. This is okay. This is okay. So Robin will most likely win his game. Aman has extremely solid game. That's another thing. And let's go to Kleinman. Let's go to Kleinman, and we just have to go to move 18, knight d2, bishop e5, rook a c1, and Kleinman play rook a to d8. For example, now Kleinman he calms down a bit when he was supposed to play the craziest h5 and h4, doing at least some counterattack. But after bishop c6, knight a4, I even see that one would be difficult. Okay, so after rook h to d8, knight c to e4. Once again, I just have to say what could be one of our main advantages in this match. The fact that they're just like less experienced than our players, and second, and just because of that they want to play end games. Like you see, both of these lower-rated guys went for an end games. So this is okay. Probably after knight e4, bishop e4, Kleinman goes for the opposite side castles, opposite side bishops. That's a little bit weird decision in a moment when he had to play for a win against a player who's like the lowest rated guy in their team. He won't be able to win this one for sure. Yeah, but he wouldn't be able to do anything here. Let's be fully honest. This is position with opposite side bishops and can hardly do anything. Okay, let's switch to another game. So Hembo against this guy. Hembo against Atuli Ashari. What I like about Hembo, if you remember from the last year, I've been talking about how good Hembo was with his knights. And he usually was doing great in his win over French with his queen d7 and then using his knights like crazy. He also has a knight in this position. It's not as good as those last year, but okay. Still some chances. Black wants to play, last move was rook a6. He wants to play rook b6, capturing on b3 and on b2. This looks fine. His position is normal. Kleinman's position is just equal. Kempen is much better, if not like completely winning. And finally, Castellanos. Let's go to Castellanos' game. Castellanos plays, he's just playing a very normal game. Last move was rook a to d1, just a bit better position. This is good, because if Kempen manages to win, Castellanos has a good position. Kleinman now. Okay, I'm still hoping that we can win 4-0 and win the match, but it won't be possible. So Queen E8. Knight F5. Castellanos keeps improving his position. Yeah, he keeps improving with this Knight F5. He wants to sacrifice at some point on H6. And his position is a bit better, I like. Look at this. He now threatens Knight F5, takes H6, followed by Knight F6, and to win the game in one move. I like this one. This is good. This is good. So Castellanos' position looks great. Castellanos' position looks great. Robin's position looks winning. And then we have Aman, who's, look at this one, huh? Okay, even in the worst case scenario, that's the calmest scenario here, he can bring the knight back from G4 to E3, drop that knight back into the center with Knight E5, and also somehow take advantage of this potentially weak H5 pawn. By the way, tonight in Atlantic Division we have one more derby match. It's like a really good one. Webster Windmills against St. Louis Archbishops. St. Louis Archbishops. That's a good one, and there are like so many good games and matches to follow. Knight H2. I don't quite get this move, to be honest. Instead of playing very actively, he went with this move, what I don't like so much, probably because of some Queen E2, but after Queen B5, now even that Queen E2 shouldn't work. Okay, so Castellanos' game is okay, but his opponent with the last move has improved his position a little bit. Okay, so Kleinman, probably because he was running out of time, he went into this type of an endgame, and this type of an endgame is dead drawn. It's dead drawn, and unfortunately he wouldn't be able to push and to do anything in terms of winning this game. And finally Kempsey or Robin van Kempen. Robin is completely winning. He wants to take on F6, wants to take on H6. Once he takes C5, knight is hanging, so this really looks great. Okay, probably rook takes F, actually not. If rook takes, then rook takes, knight E5, and bishop H6 for white. Yes, and now knight E5, knight E5, nice. And now he threatens bishop H6, and this is exactly the line I mentioned. Now knight E7, I believe, because the only move in the new constellation of pieces is after knight E7 to play rook C7. So knight E7, he now threatens knight G6 as well. Robin's game is much better, still not winning, still far from. What if knight G6 and bishop C5? Ah, bishop D4 at the end of everything. Okay, this looks good. So knight G6 definitely. So knight E7, rook E8, knight F5. It defends the bishop. By the way, what happens if rook takes E3, knight takes E3, and bishop D4 here? Nothing. After rook to E1, for example, we cannot make an additional attack on that piece. Okay, Robin is better. Is it still completely like winning like he used to be before? I don't think so. He spoiled his position a little bit. Okay, Aman is doing great. I like this guy. I like how he plays with knights. This is really great. Here now g5, for example. G5, these pawns should be fixed on the same color of the hostile bishop. This is the bishop at g2, and this is good, especially because position is quite blocked and we've got knight against the bishop. This really looks a bit better for white. Sorry, for black. So let's go to the game of Castellanos. Castellanos, his opponent won the pawn. That kind of scares me because I haven't noticed that Castellanos likes to play that let's just say crazy and to go with all the tactics. So what? Okay, somebody offered a draw there. So somebody offered a draw there, and I hope that our players will be pretty much familiar with the situation and what do they have to do, and they have to play. They have to play on a win at all costs. Okay, so this is pretty difficult situation for our guys. So queen d2, knight to e3. We're going to keep following his game for a little while. Okay, and what will happen? What will happen there? I just have to say that I keep following Aman's game as well. Simultaneously on two boards, Aman keeps improving on his position. Speaking of Kempsey or Robin, his position also looks, actually it was looking way more winning than it's now, but it's still fine. So this is like very interesting moment of the match. Yeah, let's once again go back to the game of Hembo. Hembo looks great there. Hembo looks, let's take a look at that endgame. Hembo really looks great in that endgame. I like his knight against the bishop. He doesn't even have to take. He doesn't even have to take. He can even play king e6 in that position, which I like so much. So he doesn't even have to. So just to go with f takes e4, that should be pretty bad for white. So king e6 followed by king e5 looks like an interesting continuation there. Also, let's go to Kleinman's game. There are so many things that are happening there. Kleinman is trying to play for a win, and he's just drawn his game. The game drawn by agreement. So Kleinman's, yeah, exactly. Yeah, he made a very weird decision to play the last round. The opposite colored bishops. We all know that more or less these positions are drawn. So let's get back to Hambleton's game. It's Hembo's turn. Hembo is running out of time as well. Afterwards, we'll just check the game of Castellanos and Wonder Liang. I believe the more we analyze that game and the more we wait for that game, Castellanos now after. Let's get back to Castellanos' game against the Wonder Liang. That position looks bad. That position looks bad. He dropped a pawn on a5, then he dropped another pawn, and he resigned the game. I actually believe that for the first time this season, 2018, we just have to say that Chessbrah team has lost its match. Okay, let's take a look how Hembo will do his game. King d7, going with the king on c7. It's a bad thing. It's a bad thing because we lost the match. I'll be honest, I didn't expect by all these guys to play such a great chess, but okay, you know. Hembo played a3. I believe he's pushing for a win there. Can he win this position? That's interesting. a3, b takes, king d2, a2. Well, this guy just blundered so bad. I believe that Atulya Shari blundered so bad, and that the only game that we'll take a look at will be, yeah, so Hembo has just won his game, and finally we just have to end this match. So what is this? 15. We're just waiting for one more game. It's a really bad luck what happened to our players in this match. So we didn't have too much. We got outplayed in some of the most important games, 9.5 to 6.5. Pretty bad loss, but okay, what can we do? You know what, guys? Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you're satisfied at least with the quality of the games. You could learn something. I hope that you're satisfied also by my commentary. Hope that our teammates from Chessbrah team will do much better next week. Stay tuned. Next week around the same time, you'll just have a chance to watch another match, and it's going to be against Montreal Sopranos. Once again, thanks for watching, and unfortunately we lost this one. Bye bye.